Hello and welcome, Marty friends. It's Penny here from Wales in the UK. I hope you're all doing well. This page I've called Healing Lands. Started off with some collage this time. I chose some square pieces of jelly print from my stash. And as always, I'm creating intuitively, but on this occasion, I did have words repeating in my head, and they were scorched earth and reclaiming the land. So as I went on, the scorched earth, the related words to that I associated with scorched earth were obviously fire and war-torn, desolate and neglected. So unusually for me, I build an urban space. So this is just the beginning. The colours aren't particularly attractive in the collage, but they were suited to the subject. And the four elements of the square came to mind: the air and water and earth and fire. So the colours I used reflected those elements. But a John Cleese Monty Python quote came to me, and now for something completely different, because this was such a stark contrast to the page that I'd created last week. The dragonfly dance came as a bit of a surprise to me, because I wasn't sure, I didn't know where those words came from. They just kept repeating in my head. But funnily enough, after I'd finished the page, I was talking to my daughter on the phone, and she's just started a Rewilding course. So that was kind of related to this page, really, in a small way. I do believe that there's some telepathy that goes on, between parents and children, or siblings too. So here my mark making was kind of a natural progression to put down some squares and lines. And it's kind of my own interpretation of mathematical symbols. I do like numbers, although I don't add any numbers, but maths is a language in itself, and I do enjoy listening and to languages and seeing languages written down. So maths is kind of the same thing, really. And I have a book called Fibonnacci's Secret Code, otherwise known as the Divine Proportion, which is all about the related patterns in science and art and nature. So now the scorched earth, that was repeating in my head, relating to the elements, and then the colours that I'm using were related to the elements. So I use blue and white for air, blue for water, yellow, green and brown for earth, and red for fire. So I'm building a kind of urban wasteland here, or industrial wasteland. I'm building it up with factories and houses and shops And there's also a polluted lake. So the texture that I'm using here is I'm creating the lake with the texture. And there's a dead leaf there as well to show the destruction of nature in an industrial landscape. So my lake is unfortunately polluted with plastic, industrial waste and litter. I don't remember if I've said now, but the because of the scorched earth, did I say the related words that I was relating to them were, yeah, I think I did, neglect and desolation and fire. So here I'm using pyro red as the fire element. And I've got some geometric stencils. They're very flimsy and they don't work particularly well, but it kind of seemed appropriate for this space. I'm just picking up the paint from the stencil onto this paper, and you can see a bit more of the pattern on there. And now I've added some glue, and the die cut that you can see up there on the top left, of course all these squares and rectangles fell out of that, so I used those to represent buildings. And now a flower appears, a delicate little flower to symbolise hope. So here I'm adding some turquoise and white sprays, and this is air and rain. So now here I've taken a picture of the scorched earth. I did add some of the ground coffee dilution spray to this page as well, so that kind of represents the red of the fire changing to the brown of the earth. And I cut this die cut up. I'm kind of adding them as the structure of buildings, or the bones of the buildings, where they've they've fallen down or been destroyed. And here's a picture of the polluted lake. I used the acrylic paint, the paint that you get at the top of the tube when it hardens. I collect those. The other day I spent ages, because I had a whole bowl full of them, and I spent a long time separating them into different colours and putting them in little pots. I will use them for a project one day, though I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use them or what I'm going to do with them, but probably on a canvas. They wouldn't really work in a book because they'd be too bulky. So now reclaiming the land is coming to play. So the tree that I've stenciled on there with the roots, that's a sign of strong foundations and putting down roots and obviously new life. Didn't do a very good job of painting this tree. A bit of a mess, but I do cover it up. I used the phthalo green and yellow ochre, and then some burnt sienna and quinacridone magenta. I did like the brown tree trunk and the branches there, but for some reason I decided to paint them over in more green and yellow, which I didn't like. Here I'm just painting in some of the leaves. And now I'm using a medium yellow, and then I add the quinacridone magenta on top of these bone structures of the buildings. Not quite sure if I was trying to make them rusty or whether I just wanted to add some colour. I'm not quite sure about that. I really liked them on the page though. I liked the composition of them, and they kind of gave the page a bit of structure. And now, because I wasn't happy with my tree, I've got my leaf stencil here, and I'm just spraying with the white dilution spray. And now Mother Nature is starting to do her work and bring back life to the land. Many, many years have gone by at this stage. Time has passed. So I had lots of die cuts, flower die cuts and leaf die cuts, to show Mother Nature reclaiming the space, the land. And then, now that there's food and shelter available, wildlife begins to return as well. I did add a nest and a couple of eggs there in the rushes of the lake. I tried to add more and more blue to the lake, but it didn't work so well, but the water is definitely cleaner now. And here I'm adding a ruined church, because I wanted to have a symbol of the divine, to show that Mother Nature and the divine work together to bring new life and much needed love to this, what was once a wasted landscape. And I've got a bird there flying on the right hand side of the page, but the bird kind of got a bit lost, so I cut them out. I did cut them out again in a dark blue jelly print that I had, and the blue bird represents joy and happiness and good luck. And I also cut out the duck again in the same jelly print. And here I was trying to create shadow and depth, but didn't really work. I cut them out in a dark grey paper, and I should really have cut them in much smaller and maybe just put them on the edge of the page at the bottom. So I wasn't happy with those. But I could have painted them, but I didn't think of that. And I did go a little bit mad with my gold and white splattering. So then I added a beehive dye on top of the dark leaves there to try and disguise them a bit. And I painted the church windows with the white ink, the Liquid X white ink, to try and reflect. I wanted to reflect the light coming from the church. So I added a sun as well, a golden sun. And the page, I kept adding and adding to it. And, sometimes I feel I just want to get it finished. So that is the finished page there that I called Healing Lands. So I hope you enjoyed the video, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for all the likes, and thank you to my subscribers, and for the shares and the lovely comments. Don't forget to watch the giveaway, March 2024 giveaway. I have uploaded a video, and it's got its own playlist, so it's easy to find, and the playlist is called Giveaway March 2024. So I hope you enter the draw, and I will see you very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.